Hey there, welcome to the video. Today we're talking about what a real writer's life looks like and what it doesn't, because that's equally important. So, a couple of things that I wanted to start off with. Number one, a lot of people say that they want to be writers, but what they really want is a life that supports their writing. And there's a difference in what it is that I'm saying there, and we'll get to that in a second. Also, most writers don't struggle because they lack talent. They actually struggle because they don't know what a real writer's life actually looks like. And so I'm going to share that with you today. And so today I want to talk about what a real writer's life looks like and what it does not. My name is Halana Black. I've been a professional writer full time for the last 10 years. And since 2018, I decided to take my writing business with me on the road. And since then, I've lived in 10 different countries. Currently living in Mexico. I started off in Thailand, so there were at least 9 other countries in between um, 2018 and today in 2026. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into the topic of the video today. What people actually think a writer's life looks like. There's 3 different scenarios that people generally come up with. Number one, it's the romantic image of what they want their writing life to look like. Um, and I've probably have done all 3 of these. So the first one is, the people want to take their journals, they want to go to a local cafe or some cafe in some inspiring foreign city like Paris, uh, Mexico City, London, Bangkok, all tons of places, right? You want to take your writing materials, you go there. Um, and what a lot of people actually do is they do that and they just sort of sit and wait for inspiration to hit them. There's not a lot of actual writing going on, and if they are writing, it's often looks like a lot of journaling. Listen, I love journaling. Journaling is one of my favorite things to do, but it's not actually writing that actually um, creates a business, right? Journaling is not a business. If you really want a writing life, you have to be able to create a way for you to be able to have a business. So that's the romantic image. Writing in the cafe, sitting, having your coffee or your tea, a piece of cake if you like that, and you sort of sit and wait for inspiration to hit you. You're sort of, doing your people watching and things like that. Second image. The second image is the hustler, the hustle writer. These are the people who are doing constant content creation. They're pitching all over the place, pitching ideas all over the place, and they are chasing visibility. They'll write for any and everything that will take their idea. They're often writing for low pay, so you're sort of killing yourself trying to write, either poor content or really great content at a really low cost. So you're writing blog posts, you might be doing some other sort of marketing material, maybe you're doing magazine articles, and you're not really getting paid very much. And so you're hustling around, always looking for the next place for you to be able to make your next couple of bucks. The next is the gatekeeper image. The gatekeeper image, what does that mean? This means that you are writing for spaces where you need permission in order to enter into these spaces. So that might be some people who are in an MFA program, Master of Fine Arts. And so, that's a place where you often have to go through, you got to apply and be accepted to the program. You often have to show some sort of prior work. and then of course your work has to be accepted by a committee, all sorts of other things. Um, these are also would include people who are looking for a publishing deal. If you're looking for that publishing deal, you're working on putting together um, what are your proposals, your book proposals, waiting to look for your publishing deals. Also, this would include if you are, looking to write for magazines and things like that. You have to go through somebody else in order to create this. So this takes time. None of these things are wrong, right? None of these three images are wrong. You can do all. I've done all three of these things. Not the MFA. I've never done the MFA, although I do have a master's degree, but it's not in writing. It's in education. But yeah, I've done all three of these things. But none of these models are really designed to support a writing life that supports your adult life. Okay? None of these writing scenarios are designed to support a real adult life. I don't know if you all can see me properly. Am I looking crazy? I don't know. I probably screwed it up more. But in any case, none of these models of working are really designed to support a real adult writer's life. Like, can you pay your rent on this? And that's really what I want for the people that I work with. I want people to be able to make real money from the things that they're doing. So, having said that, what a real writer's life actually looks like. I think I told you, I've been writing for the last 10 years. I've had a professional full-time business as a writer for the last 10 years. The last 7 of those years I've spent gallivanting around the world, 10 different countries. I started off in Thailand. I am currently living in a beach city in Mexico. And I love my life. I love everything about my life. And one of the things that I know that I have created in my business as a writer is that, number one, I have daily structure. My business doesn't run on motivation. One of the things, the popular questions that someone always asks me about my writing business is, how do I find the motivation to write? And I have to tell you, it's not about motivation. Some days I'm not motivated to write. But just like you get up and go to work every day, and maybe you get up, you get dressed, you get in the car, you drive yourself to work, or you get in some sort of public transportation. You arrive, you sit down, maybe you log into something into your computer. You have tasks that you're given to do. You have goals that you need to be able to meet. Maybe you have meetings sometime during the day. What I'm saying is that there is structure around the thing that you want to be able to create, right? And so your writing business has to have the same thing. Without structure, you're dependent upon motivation to work. And what you're going to find that when it comes down time for you to be able to find clients, to find magazines where you can put in your pitching ideas. If you are waiting for the motivation to come and hit you, you will never be able to make a living doing writing at all. It's just not going to happen for you. If you do make money, it's going to be so unstable. You get a little bit here, a little bit there. There might be weeks, maybe even months between you being paid. And that's an issue. You don't want that as a writer. You want to be able to create a life where you have dependable income. That's what you want. Number 2, beyond structure, what you need is real skills. You need real skills. You need to be able to know how to be able to have good ideas, to be able to share to be able to share with clients. So your clients could either be a corporation if you're doing marketing writing. Your client could also be if you're, writing for more lifestyle magazines, business magazines, health magazines, all sorts of magazines out there in the world that you can write for. But you need to be able to have the skill set available to be able to communicate your ideas with a company. It's not what I always want people to understand, that is, it's not so much that you need to the skills that I'm talking about here isn't always necessarily come down to whether or not you know how to write. Helping you to figure out learning how to write is something that you can do with practice. How my writing started 10 years ago is not what my writing looks like 10 years later. That's something you can practice. But the skills that you actually need to work on as a writer is coming up with the ideas that you want to be able to write about. And that's one of the things that I teach. And so also what's important here is your choices. You don't want to be in a state where you are constantly having to prove yourself as a writer. And so really, writing is really a part of your personal life design. Writing fits into how writing fits into your day. For me, I like to be able to write during the earlier part of the day. The reason is because I know that's when my energy is highest. And then I like to be able to leave the later parts of the day for personal stuff. Like I like to be able to go outside. I might do like a quick walk on the beach to be able to enjoy, sunset time. I might want to be able to go out and get a bite to eat. Sometimes I'll go to the market because I love to cook. And so, I like to be able to cook things at home. And so what I'm saying is that I manage my writing life around the things that I love. And so you can do the same thing for yourself. How does writing fit into your daily life design? It's not something that I squeeze in at the end of the day. That's important. Number 2, publishing and even pitching is a skill, right? Publishing, it's a skill that you have to be able to learn. Writers learn how the work moves into the world, so that there's a whole like a workflow. There's a whole workflow on how publishing works depending on who you are working with. So that's something that you need to be able to learn. And the pitching part is only just one tool. It's not the whole thing. And so you need to be able to know how the publishing process works, depending on the type of client that you are working for. And then number 3, your independence matters, particularly for women, especially for women in midlife. If you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and even older, it's really important to me. I'm 48, and so I really want for women to be able to understand in particular that this type of writing life really can give you some independence if you're willing to do the work to make this happen for you. If you don't want to compete out there in the job market, if you are willing to put in the work of creating a space for yourself out there in the world where you are putting your hat out there and saying, hey, I am a person that you can hire to do work, to do good work for you, then this is definitely something that you can do. This is really where you can shine if you really want to be able to have an independent writing life. So where does pitching fit into your real world writer's life? Number 1, pitching is a way for you to be able to communicate. That's really all it is. It's a way for you to be able to communicate an idea that fits the company or the person that you're working with. So if you're working with a corporation, there's going to be a certain way to be able to pitch. I did a lot of pitching ideas to tech corporations for a few years. And it was great work. I really learned a lot just doing communication work for tech corporations. And so, I learned a lot about marketing that I actually have used to instill in my own work as a writer and in my own writing business. It's not begging. Sometimes people feel like they're begging, or they're begging for attention, or if they're sending ideas out. That's not what pitching is at all. But it's definitely a forward way of communicating an idea, and a lot of these companies in the magazines, they actually function. They're not able to function without people like us who have great ideas to be able to share with an audience. Are magazines still relevant? Absolutely. I know over the last at least 10-20 years, magazines have sort of shifted. We've seen magazines come and go. Some of them have closed, like the actual physical print magazines, and they focus more on digital, and some have gone both ways, back and forth, depending on budgets and things like that. So magazines there's a ton of magazines. If you're in the States and you can get to a Barnes and Nobles, you can go to a newspaper, the newspaper space in Barnes and Noble, or wherever it is, your grocery store, wherever. You can see that there are tons of magazines out there. And what you even see is not really all there is. There's more. There's always more. There's plenty of places, people, companies, like a lot of people don't realize a lot of corporations actually have their own magazines. Sometimes they have a magazine within the corporation for people who are already working within the company. And then there are other corporations that have magazines where they work with, like they use it to attract investors. They use it to attract good employees. I've done all these things. So it's not just like, your Essence magazine, women's, what are some of the other, like the Oprah Daily magazine, which is an online magazine. But Oprah magazine was also something that a lot of people like to be able to pitch. Those are not the only ones that are available to you. There are tons of spaces, print as well as digital, where you can pitch your ideas. Why writers who avoid pitching often stay invisible longer than they need to. Why writers who avoid pitching often stay invisible longer than they need to. Pitching actually works with momentum. So it is something that you have to do often. And for a lot of people who are writers, and if you are depending on motivation, if you are depending on your energy, if you are depending on when the Lord moves you, if you are depending on something outside of the structure that you create for yourself in your writing business, you will always struggle with being visible. You will always struggle with being able to find clients. And it doesn't have to be that way. If you learn how to do this with the right person, you'll be able to pull this together. And so pitching is not really your whole writing life, but it is an important part of having an independent writing life. And so when you as a writer understand the pitching process, publishing doesn't feel so mysterious anymore. Okay? So You don't need to become something other than who you already are to live the writer's life. You just need to be able to learn some basic structure and some relevant skills. And you need clarity on what it is that you in particular have to offer as a writer to a company, an individual, to a small business, a large business, a global business. There's all sorts of things, all sorts of places where you can offer your services as a writer, and pitching is often the cornerstone skill of being able to be able to do that. So I have something for you. If you are really interested in pitching magazines, pitching corporations, this is also relevant for you. I have a document that I want to share. It's called 5 Successful Magazine Pitches. The link is below in the description. What you'll get is you'll see the name of the magazine. I actually have a couple of magazine articles that I've written last year, 2025, for Essence Magazine. I think I have something in there from Sisters from AARP and another women's magazine. I can't remember offhand, but they're all great. What I give you is I give you the actual pitch, just a couple of paragraphs, and then I give you the actual link to where the article is actually published. So you'll get to see the difference between what the pitch looks like and what the actual magazine article looks like. Just to be able to make you feel like, hey, this is something that you can do. And so if that's going to be helpful for you, go ahead and put in your name. Click on the link, put in your name, your email address, and you'll be able to get that right away. And so if you want more content like this, I invite you to like and subscribe to this channel. And I will be able to see you in the next video. Peace.